Hello, stamping friends. Brenda Hillard here at Create with Brenda. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I live in north central Minnesota. So anyway, today, boy, this has been a long time coming. So let me back up. A few weeks ago, maybe even close to a month ago already, I had shared a swap card that I received. This adorable little gnome card, and it goes like this. And so when you stand it up, it's like a display all on its own. Isn't it cute? This was a fellow demonstrator, Michelle Baranek, swapped with me, and I was the lucky recipient of this card. So is what I want to show you is how to make this card, but we're going to do it a little bit differently in that we're going to use the stamp set called Nuts About Squirrels. And honestly, I am not nuts about squirrels. They cause a lot of damage to our trees here. So anyway, but these little squirrels are so cute and the sentiments are fun. So let's get started. Oh, one other thing I should mention is that down below you will see a link for a free tutorial. It'll take you to my website at createwithbrenda.com, and as all you have to look for is the Nuts About Squirrels. So, all right, here we go. So, let's start by giving you our pieces. Now don't get all hung up on writing down the size of them, because in the PDF I have all of the measurements written down for you, okay? And like I said, this will be on my website, createwithbrenda.com, and I will attach the video there as well, so that once you get your pieces cut out, then you can just stamp along with me. All right, so here we go. I have my card base, which measures 4 1/8 by 9 1/2. And is what I'm going to do is score this. And I am going to start scoring with the long edge, the 9 1/2 inch edge at the top of my trimmer. And I am going to score at 1 inch. I'm going to score at 2 inches. I'm going to score at 7 1/2 inches, and I'm going to score at 8 1/2 inches. All right, so I'm just going to set this aside. Now you will need 2 pieces. I'm using soft suede cardstock. You're going to need 2 pieces that measure 2 1/2 by 3. So let's make sure that this is the right 2 1/2 by 3. Perfect. So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to score at 3/4. Oops, look what I did. I didn't score at all. I cut. That happens, you guys. Let me grab another piece here. No cutting, we're scoring. Okay, so 3/4, and then 1 3/4. And we're gonna do the same thing to the other. Now, I don't know if I told you or not, but you put the 2 1/2 inch edge up at the top, and you score at 3/4 and 1 3/4. All right. Now, before I put this away, on our card base is what we want to do is we're going to put the 4 1/8 inch edge up at the top of our trimmer, and we're going to put the edge at the 1 inch mark on the right hand side, and then we're going to score, but we're only going to score to that first score line, okay? So 1 inch and just to the first score line. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to put it at 1 inch, and I'm going to score to the first score line. So we'll have these little marks, and I don't think they're very apparent on my paper, but just trust me, you want to score just to the first score line. All right, I think we're done with our scoring. Yeah. So I'll move the trimmer out. And so now is what we're going to do is we are going to fold and burnish. So I'm going to get my bone folder, burnish the edge. I'm going to fold it back, and I'm going to burnish that edge as well so that it stays. I'm going to fold, burnish, fold, and burnish. All right, so now it looks like this. So we've got like these Z's. I'm going to unfold here a little bit. I'm going to take my paper snips, and what I want to do is I want to cut straight across on my score line. It's hard for me to see my score line. So I'm going to cut just to the first score line like that. Do it on both sides. Just cut straight in to the first score line. And then from there, we're going to cut an angle up to the top. Okay? Same thing here. We're going to cut an angle up to the top. So we have these are our discard pieces. And now our card is going to look like this. Okay? Our next step, we're going to fold and burnish these as well. So I'm going to fold, burnish, fold, and burnish. So is what we're going to end up with are these Z shapes. And you know, I should have said too, it's like I have a team member, Nancy. It's like, Nancy, this video is for you. We have not been connecting well. So I thought, well, this'll work. So I did the same thing there. So I've got these two pieces, okay? So what I'm going to do is hold them. I'm just going to squish them down. And with the shorter end of the tab here, I think you can see this. If not, I'll just bring this piece in. I'm just going to, on this top flap right here, I'm going to use some liquid glue. And I'm going to lay that down so that it matches this edge, because this is going to be our mechanism for, and you want to put it up to this outside edge there, okay? So it's an extension. Can you see that? So there's that. And now let's do the same thing on this side. So this one's going to lay down like this. I'm going to, again, just put glue on the flap, this back flap, and then I'm going to line it up with my edge. So now my card is going to open like this. Don't worry about seeing the seam, because that will get covered up in our next step, okay? All right. So now is what we're going to do is we're going to attach our panels. So you should have two pieces that measure 2 3/4 by 3 5/8. And is what we're going to do is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put glue right here on the section that has the seam. And I'm going to match this up with the bottom of my card base, pushing it into the fold. And there we have our first layer, okay? So let's do that same thing over here. I'm just going to put glue where we have that seam. I'm going to tuck this piece into the fold, lining it up with the very bottom of my card base. So now we have this, okay? All right, so our next is going to be our front flaps. So I'm going to take my two pieces of soft suede, and these measure 2 1/4 by 3 1/8. And is what I'm going to do again is just to put glue on the flap. Oops, I got some behind. I didn't want that. And then I'm just going to match this up again with the side of my card and making sure that my bottom edges and my side edge are even. All right, we're going to do that over here too. Glue on the top flap, line it up so that my side edge and the bottom edge of my card are even. All right, guys, so that's our mechanism. We're all done with that part. Yeah. Gosh, at first I thought I did it wrong, but I didn't. Oh, maybe I did. Hold on. Oh, there. It just stuck where it wasn't supposed to stick. I had a little bit of glue. So you see how we've got this layer, and this layer. And then when you push them down, they all come together. So that's our card base. Time to start decorating. All right, I'm going to bring in our two pieces of Designer Series paper, and I chose the Rings of Love Designer Series paper. This was a celebration bonus product. Speaking of celebration, we only have, what, today? If we count today, we have 5 days to celebrate, and then it's over. So you can place orders through August 31st. When placing an order, if your order is $50, you get to choose a level 1 item. If your order is $100, you can do 2 level 1s or 1 level 2. And you're going to want to look because they added some extra bonus items too. So, all right, so what I did there is I just glued our Designer Series paper down onto our card base. So when we stand it up, it's going to look like this. Okay. All right, guys, it is time to stamp. So the color palette that I've chosen is quite extensive. And is where I chose my colors from is we have all these beautiful coordinating colors here with the paper. So I chose Soft Succulent. I'm just going to tip them up on end. Soft Succulent, Poppy Parade, Crush Curry, Cajun Craze, and Early Espresso. Lots of inks, lots of stamping. But just wait, you'll see. It's fun, and it really does go fairly quick. So is what I'm going to do first off is bring in just a scrap piece of paper, because I'm going to want to stamp off. And this is our envelope. So let's start with that. We'll take our little branch, and this is right in the Nuts About Squirrels. And I'm going to ink that up with Early Espresso. And remember, this is on our envelope. So I'm just going to add a few little branches right down here at the corner of our envelope, because you know the saying here at Create with Brenda, no naked envelopes, right? So there's that. I also want to take our, maybe I didn't cut one, here's one. Our piece of basic white that measures 4 by 5 3/8. I am going to just set that aside. I want to bring in our little front panels here. And on this one for the right side, I'm going to add branches. I want it to kind of go up. I want it to mimic a tree. So there, I think that mimics a tree pretty well. And then our little saying here, this Nuts About You, I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp it right over here. And now we get to add leaves. This is really, really fun. So I'm going to start with my lightest color first, which is Crushed Curry. Then I will do the Soft Succulent, Cajun Craze, and then the Poppy Parade last. So I'm going to open up my Crushed Curry. I'm going to bring in my little leaf, and again, this is the leaf from the Nuts About Squirrels stamp set. And let's just add a few of these golden yellow leaves. We'll kind of make one go off the page a little bit there. Okay. So, my chamois, clean the Crushed Curry, and we'll move to the Soft Succulent. I'm going to ink up. I'm going to have one just falling down here. We'll add another one in here, and maybe one more pointed upward. How cute is that? I'm going to bring this in just a little bit. Seems like I'm stamping kind of far away. Okay, back onto my chamois, clean my stamp. Let's move on to the Cajun Craze. Actually, I'm going to hold off on the Cajun Craze. I'm going to do a Poppy Parade. Ink up. Stamp. Whoops. I'm going to take one kind of out here off the edge. And then we'll do one more that's tumbling this way. That looks good. All right, I need my chamois back. My well-loved chamois. All right. I'm gonna close this. And then we're going to move over to this side. And is what I have is there's a little squirrel that's kind of like peeking over her shoulder. I'm going to take, there's an outline squirrel and a solid. So with the outline stamp, I'm going to bring in my early espresso. I'm going to ink this up. And when I stamp this one, I always look at its feet to make sure that its feet are down. And straight across, okay? So there's that. And then with the Cajun Craze, I'm going to ink up the solid. I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on. And with the photopolymer and the clear block, you can see through, and again, I line up the feet and the ears and stamp down. And there's our squirrel. Isn't she cute? As far as squirrels go, right? Right. So now we're going to go back into our early espresso with the branch. Only this time, I'm going to have the branch coming in from the side. And we'll give it just a few branches going up. Okay. Looks like I got just a little bit of the ink on the squirrel, but that's all right, it blended in. And then we're going to start with our leaves again, and we'll go from lightest to darkest. So we'll first ink up our crushed curry. I'm going to do a couple down here so it looks like our squirrel is standing on some leaves. I'm going to move into our soft succulent. I'm going to have one go off of the paper here just a little bit. You guys will probably get real tired of watching me stamp these leaves, but I think this is kind of what makes the card. So, all right, I'm going to clean off my stamp here. And then I'll go into the Poppy Parade. And we'll just add some color up here. And let's have one more falling leaf here. All right. So now there's a little stamp that has veins, and is what I want is my early espresso. And I'm just going to quickly stamp veins on all of my leaves. That one's okay. So let's bring in our other side panel. You don't have to worry about being exact with these, just approximate is good, because we all know leaves aren't perfect, right? All right, I'm going to put that to the side because we still have a few more to do. But for now, let's take our pieces that we just stamped, and we're going to add some Stampin' Seal. Or you could use liquid glue too. And I'm going to add these panels to the very front of our card. So this card seems like it takes a long time. It really doesn't, depending upon how you decorate it. I chose to do a fair amount of stamping on this one. So now our card is looking like this. Okay, so it's what we're going to work on now is our back panel here. And I'm going to bring in that piece. This was the one that measured 4 by 5 3/8. I'm going to bring in the other squirrel. This one is outline. And this is with a squirrel holding an acorn. So I'm going to stamp. And then we're going to bring in the Cajun Craze and our solid stamp for this one. That's not it. This is it. I'm going to ink up using Cajun Craze. I'm going to stamp off. And for this one, again, I line up the ears and the feet and stamp. So there's our squirrel. Isn't she cute? I'm going to bring in the acorn cap in Early Espresso. I'm going to stamp off and on. And then again, I just want to do a few leaves just to balance our little squirrel, okay? So if you want to, you could take the branch. I can have a branch coming in, like our squirrel is up in a tree. And then we're just going to stamp some leaves. So I'm going to take the crushed curry. And I'll put one right out here. And I'll do a poppy parade. And a soft succulent. Okay. Our sentiment on the inside is going to be the simple little happy birthday that's in the Nuts About Squirrels stamp set. So I'm just going to stamp that right here. Happy birthday. And I think it would be good to add just a little leaf up here to kind of bring our leaf theme in. All right, I'm going to bring in those veins again, and we're just going to add the veining to the leaves. Okay, so there's our insert, and let's bring our envelope back in. And veins. Got so many ink pads open here, I don't have to double check what I'm doing. Okay, so there's our matchy envelope. Let me close these up quickly, and then we'll put that insert inside our card, and then we can ooh and ah at our creation here. Okay. So our envelope, I'm going to take the Stampin' Seal, cut it to the back. We're going to pull this open, And center this on the inside. And there we have it. So there's our fun little nuts about nuts about squirrels, but our sentiment says nuts about you. You guys, I couldn't have planned that any better, could I, with the leaf? Anyway, I think this stamp set is super cute. I love this card layout. And again, I was totally inspired by Michelle Baranek. And here's Michelle's card. How cute is that? And then she did this. She put a piece on the back as well with a sentiment so that there was more room to write. So I feel like I have enough room to write in mine. However, if I wanted to, I could always add another piece on the back for additional writing space. All right, you guys, there is the Nuts About Squirrels Cascading Display Fun Fold card. So when you stand it up, you get all these layers, back, middle, front. Nancy, I can't wait to see what you create. And until next time, bye for now.